Welcome back to another video for my Linux series. And in this video, I'm going to go over elevated user privilege management. And the first exercise is just going to be just a couple exercises I'm doing today. The first exercise is going to be using elevated privileges within Linux. Now, elevated privileges, right, they allow authorized users to modify the system configurations or perform certain tasks, for example, like adding a user or group or install software, which I showcased in the last couple of videos. What I'm going to do now is use these elevated privileges to perform specific tasks using the superuser and sudo or superuser do commands, right? So first I'll start with just the su command here. Actually, you know what? I'll start with a different one. Let's do, who am I? I am the admin. All right, so it's just used to show me who I am currently logged into the system, and I'm logged in as the administrator. So let's do now sudo su. All right, and password. Perfect. Now let's do another who am I. All right, so now I am currently the root. So when I run it, once I ran the sudo su command, it changed me to the root, right? So now I have elevated privileges and I can execute commands as a root user or super user, right? So let's now xid, right? And now the administrator account now substituted with root. And sometimes you got to be careful when you're logged in as a root user. It is insecure if the elevated privileges are left active, right? And it's pretty much equivalent to stay logged on as the root user account, which the ID command just demonstrated. So now I'm going to use the sudo command, which allows me to execute commands as a root user or a super user without having to switch to a super user account. So first, let me actually exit out of here. All right. Now what I did was I left the super user elevation. So now it just changed back to just a regular administrator, right? Now I'm going to use this command, sudo user add m Judy do. Okay, perfect. Thought it was going to ask me for a password, but nonetheless, I just did the sudo user add for Judy do command to create a new user and then add it to the user home directory. So now I'm just going to do this one here. All right, there's the password I was looking for. Perfect. So now that it's updated, right? So now I'm going to do group add. Perfect. So the group add command, it created a new group named updaters. And now I'm going to do another sudo command, which I did. I believe I used this in this command in particular in the last video. And let's updaters. Perfect. So now I've added Judy to the updaters group. I'm just going to do another check here. I'm still in the administrator, right? But I'm still able to execute commands that require elevated privileges. Funny enough. All right. Do that ID. So yeah, it looks like the administrator account is in the sudo group. So that's why I'm able to do what I'm able to do. Now I'm going to take a look into elevated privileges for a user. So let's use Judy do, and of course for password. So now that I'm in, let's see, who am I? Judy do, and let's ID. All right. So I'm taking a look at the groups that Judy do is in. Looks like the user is not in the sudo group. It looks like. So let's see here. Yeah, looks like she's not in the sudo hours file, but this incident is going to be reported. I'm just verifying that she wasn't there anyway. So let's get out of here. All right, so now that we're back in the terminal as usual, so let's do another sudo command. Sudo. All right. So now I'm in the sudoers file or etc sudoers file, and I can modify it, right? So there's a couple different entries in the file, right? I got the the root, the admin, and the sudo, right? And they all have their designations, right? Root has access to everything. The admin, which are members in the group that have access to everything and will have root privileges. And then lastly, the sudo, right? It's members in the group that have access to everything and will be able to execute also any command. So in this file, let's take a look at, let's see, go down to the root entry. And I'm going to add Judy here. Okay, perfect. So now that I've typed that in, so the command pretty much has all of the following. Judy Doe, which is the default, going to be the default group, all, which is all machines, and then all for all is root privileges here, and then the last all is for all commands. So now I'm just going to do Control O, right? And then enter so I can save it, right? And then like Control X. So now that places me back at the terminal. So let's do SU Judy Doe. Authentication failure. Okay, let's try again. Okay, perfect. Who am I? Judy Doe. Sudo. Okay, perfect. So now I'm noticing the sudoers entry right here, right? This so pretty much that means that the user Judy Doe can run as all users and groups and can run all commands. So let's get up out of here. All right, so now we're back at the terminal. So let's do another sudo, the sudo. All right, so we can go back into to update the pretty much to modify the sudo words file to elevate privileges for the updated group in particular. So let me go. Let's see here. There it is. And perfect. All right. So now that I've typed that, just going to give us pretty much just the same, right? All for all machines. And then the all that's in the parentheses here, root privileges, and then the APT update is the command allowed, right? So now just going to move it, the cursor here onto here. I'm going to add a hashtag so it'll make it a comment instead of an actual action. So then I'm going to save the file. Then I'm going to exit out with Control X. I'm going to take a look at Judy again. All right. Perfect. And let's take a look at here. She's not allowed to execute. Okay. That's fine. That's because I've removed the root permissions for the user Judy Doe into the sudoers file. That's fine. So let's just do this instead. Okay, may ask me for a password. Nope, that's fine. So I've just done the upgrade. So now the user can successfully run the apt update command because Judy Doe is in the updated group. So now I'm just going to exit out. All right, and then clear out the screen so I can have a nice clean screen. And then I'm going to move on to the next exercise. So now what I'm going to do is manage authentication within Linux. So I'm just going to do a few things. Just going to create a password policy and use a password to change and a PAM to manage authentication. So first what I'm going to do is manage passwords on the system. So let's do a user add for Johan this time. And of course, we need a password. I guess not. All right, and I guess I'll tell it that I need password. All right, and then we're going to add Jill. Then let's see. I'll just type it out. So we think a bit overzealous. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to add just another one. Not going to do that. Okay, perfect. Now for a password. Oops, not what I meant. Right. Password. That's better. Okay, perfect. And let's see, I don't think I did this for Johan. I guess I did. Did I? I don't think so. But just in case. All right, perfect. So we're good there. Everything's set successfully. So let's do a SU. All right. Okay. There it is, and we're in. Perfect. Oops. Not the people I can't see it. Yeah, I know. I know. Right. All right, perfect. So it has been changed successfully. All right, so now I'm just going to modify the password policy. All right, sorry about the wait there. So let's do this command here. All right. And so now, so the CHAGE command, right? When I use it with the lowercase l option, it lists the current password policy for the user. I'm just going to make a change here. M7 dildo. All right, perfect. So what I use now this time with the lowercase m option, it's going to set the minimum number of days between the password change. So here, I just changed it to 7, hence my 7 before Jill Doe. So I'm going to make another change to, let's see, 42 instead. Okay. All right, perfect. So now I just set it to 42 as far as the maximum number of days between password changes. So let me make another change really quick. All right. So now the changes are successfully applied to the password policy. So now what I can do is modify password policies for any new users in the ETC login DFS file, right? So what I'm going to do to get started is do a sudo edit, right, in that file, right? And now I can see the file being displayed. So just going to scroll down to the password aging controls. Let's see, where would I find it? Let's see here. Password next days. Let's see here. There it is. I'm going to change this now to 42. All right. And the minimum is going to be 7. And I'm going to change this to 3 as far as any type of warning. So now I'm just going to save it. All right. I'm going to exit out to take me back to the terminal. So now I'm just going to do another user add. All right. Password. Perfect. Updated successfully. Let's do another sudo. All right, perfect. Now we see the actual changes are successfully applied to the password policy, with the minimum number of days being 7 for between password changes, maximum 42 days. Number of days of a warning before the password expires is officially 3 per my changes. So lastly, what I'm going to do for this exercise is creating a PAM policy, which is a pluggable authentication module. And what it is in Linux, it's a collection of shared libraries that allows the administrator to dynamically authenticate a user to the applications and services in the Linux system. So I'm just going to create one of those PAM policies, right? So let's actually clear this out on like a nice clean screen. So we're going to change directories here for a second. Let's go to the security portion. All right, so now that we're in, let's do some editing. How you spell it? Integration. All right, perfect. So now that I'm in, so what this is a failed lock configuration file that's being displayed. So let's see, just going to change a few things here. Um, let's see if I can find the unlock time here. There it is. let's actually, not only that, but let's remove the hashtag from some of these. So they can become actual commands and not just comments. Go. Change that. Perfect. So what this file allows me to do is configure the default settings for locking out a user after there have been multiple failed attempts to authenticate. Now I'm just going to save it. I'm going to exit and bring me back to the terminal. I'm going to change the directories again. Take a look at our pluggable modules here. All right, so now that we're in, that means I'm now able to navigate within the PAM directory because it is currently active. So now I'm just going to create a configuration file in this directory. So I'm going to do another edit. Okay, perfect. So now that I'm in, I'm going to type a few things here. It's about right. Save it and let's get out of here. All right, perfect. So the first line, what I did was when the authentication fails, the session dies out, which is why I spelled specifically default equals die with authorization, right? With the fail, with the authorization fail. Then the second line account that required Pam underscore fail lock, wish I'd still had it up here. That means to not allow a session unless using the fail lock .so. So that means the PAM policy that was created will be applied to any new accounts that are created, which allows me to also close out the terminal window because that has been completed. And this also brings us to the completion of this video. Again, just for a very brief recap, I showcase elevated user privilege management using elevated privileges in Linux, managing authentication in Linux as well, modifying password policies, creating a PAM policy, and using a few different commands like sudo and su to configure those things as well. And again, this brings us to the end of the video for yet another robust one for the Linux series. In the next video, I'm going to go over remote connectivity management. Can't wait to see you there. In the meantime, stay curious, stay secure.